Hey, good evening, Maria. Back with another video. It is 6:09 p.m. It is September 15th. It is a Wednesday evening, so I wanted to come on here and make a video. I'm in a decent mood. I really haven't slept very well in the last 2 days. It's been very hot inside the house. Of course, we turn the air conditioner on, and when the air conditioner is on, then the air blows through the vents, and I don't like that because it goes up my nose, and then that could cause sinus problems. So sometimes nights are very uncomfortable, and there's times where I sleep right through it, and then when I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm screwed because I'm like conscious of everything that goes on around me. So it was pretty rough the last few nights, but hopefully I'll get some sleep tonight. So I just wanted to come on here because I had some thoughts going on in my head, and what was on my mind this morning. I don't know if it was because I had a dream about this or whatever, but I was focusing on status and how it is important to people, and I think sometimes when you're involved in, you're a victim of gang stalking. Some people have these weird ideas. They imagine that you have better status or you're in a higher status position than they are, so they want to compete with you. Trust me, I don't have status, okay? I never have. When I was younger, I think everybody grows up with these ideas that you're going to have like the little picket fence and you're going to have like this prosperous life. When I mean prosperous, I'm referring to financial comforts. You think about having a swimming pool and all these other stuff. And when I got to be about 30 something, I'm like, that's just not going to happen. It's just not. So, and I'm very realistic about that. Some people are willing to do certain things in order to gain status. And I think, some of the people who got involved in my targeting, they were assuming that I'm one of those kind of people that would be willing to do something to raise myself up socially. Like some people get married to raise themselves up socially. They might marry somebody who's very well known in their community. But see, generally when people marry somebody who's high up there, they usually are a little bit higher up there themselves. People usually marry within their social financial brackets, okay? Because they don't want to marry people who are basically, what do you call it? Gold diggers, okay? And I'm not a gold digger. Okay, I'm not going to have to I don't think it's worth my time to put up with some smelly asshole who I can't stand, who I'm going to cringe every time he wants to kiss me or hug me or something like that. Also, I can do that. That's what whores do. Okay, and that's basically how I look at it. I'm a woman who likes to work. Okay, and it's not about me like raising up and trying to have like this uprising against, marriage and women should burn their bras and all this women's lib stuff. It has nothing to do with that. What it is just this is the fate that life has given me. And I do see things differently, when it comes to sincerity and all this other stuff. Marriage most of the time is for convenience, okay? Sometimes it's two partners who care a lot about each other and they end up working towards certain goals together, okay? But, I don't do anything for status. I'm the kind of person, I'm a very individualistic person, meaning, everything might be in style. Like certain things might be in style. Like, for example, these earrings may have been like outdated since the 90s, okay? But Maria likes these earrings, so she's going to wear these earrings. If I cared about status, I would make sure that I was in line with everything that the newest issue of Vogue, if they even still make that magazine anymore, I would be imitating those sort of things, okay? I would be doing the things that most people do to raise themselves up socially, okay? I'm just somebody who's trying to get by in this world. Okay, and I'm very content this way. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to understand, but when you're a very spiritually minded person, you are content with what you have. Now, what I'm not content with is, some of the depressing things that I had to go through in my life. You know what I mean? Those were unfortunate issues. You know what I mean? Like being bullied, being harassed out of my job, having to move place to place, all because of bullshit that I didn't ask for. Those sort of unfortunate things, okay? But I want to tell you, when I say that I am pretty content with my life, with the exception of being born into a family that fucking messed up my jobs and, fucked my shit up, messed up my childhood and whatever, okay? I could have had a better quality life had I not been raised in that family. It's the truth, okay? Everybody knows it. It's fucking obvious. I remember back in the 1990s, I met this one guy. And no, I've heard this from a few people. Get this, okay? Back in the 90s, I remember this man, and he was talking to me, and he goes, it's really unfortunate. He must have saw that maybe I have potential to go on better things in my life. He's like, it's really unfortunate, but your family is never going to let you have anything. And I kept thinking, what are you talking about? I had no idea at the time that my family was doing this kind of shit to me, but obviously people in my neighborhood knew. And I kept thinking, why is he saying that? And back then I was so focused on bullshit, like everyday stuff, meeting new people, whatever. It went in one ear and out the other. I remember somebody telling me, I found it very strange that I would encounter people who would just out of the blue talk about their abusive mothers, their abusive families, how they were scapegoated out of the blue. And the reason why they were doing this is because they were trying to let me know, hey, I understand what you're going through. You know what I mean? And all of this stuff started revealing itself to me. So yeah, I do. I think that I could have had a much more happier life, a better life, okay, without them. And when I say better life, I'm not talking about status. I'm talking about peace of mind, which when you really look at life, that's the only thing that really fucking matters, okay? Because you can be up there, you can be, high status, you can be rubbing elbows with all the socialites and everything, but you can be going home looking at a pile of bills because you've got yourself in major debt. You're up to your eyeballs in like mortgages that you can't pay on and so on. So a lot of people fake it. They front, they do all kinds of stuff to pretend that they're up there. So I'm not, that doesn't mean anything to me, really, okay? Now, would it be nice for me to have some of the nice stuff that they have, like some of the nice clothes, designer outfits? Hell yeah, okay? But every once in a while, I'll cruise through a thrift store, and I'll pick up somebody's discards, and I'm happy to have it, okay? But do I feel broken inside because I don't have those things myself? No, I can't say that I do, because I've always been realistic about those sort of things, okay? So anyway, I was thinking about status today, and no, some people, and I talked yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, about how people try to force this idea, or try to think it's funny that they were trying to force me back into my marriage, my ex-marriage, with my ex-husband. And I was very offended by it because some people think that women of color are willing to do anything to raise their status, to get a white man, okay? But this is the arrogance of this mentality, because they're basically saying we're willing to bend over backwards and take all forms of abuse, okay? And that's a very serious thing when that's the underlying message in society, okay? No, we're not. And I can't speak for everyone, okay? But there's a lot of black women who probably would. And they do. And I'm sure once they learn their lesson, they won't fucking do that shit ever again, right? And if they do, they're basically a fool, okay? I don't see anything. I don't believe that there is anything spiritually wrong with people interracially marrying, or being in an interracial couple, or producing children. I have never seen anything scripturally that said anything negative about that. The only thing that I do remember when I used to study the Bible was it was talking about how when you do marry people in different nations or whatever, sometimes they worship different gods. Okay, so that was the issue. Okay. But I think if it was something that was forbidden by nature, then people would not be able to reproduce. Like, you would have like what do you call it? A square peg, and then you would have like this hole or something where those genitalia areas could not create, or whatever. It would be different. But if you can produce offspring, okay, by being of different races, I think nature says that this is okay. So therefore, I don't see anything wrong with it. What is the problem is that we have people who are concerned with class, social class, structure, they're territorial, whatever, xenophobic, whatever it is. And so we have these things where people rise up and they fight against it, and they're completely against it. Do I believe it's against nature? Do I believe it's against God, or, God or whatever? No, I don't. I don't believe that it is, okay? But it does cause problems on the earth among people, okay? So, no, as an adult, I would not marry somebody for status. Black, white, Asian, whoever, I don't care. If I don't want to get married, okay? But I'm just saying it's like I don't have the desire to raise myself up socially. Okay, meaning of course, I want a decent reputation. What's important to me is that people understand that I'm not involved with this bullshit. Okay, like all this garbage that went on for the last 5 years I'm making, and all the thousands of videos that I made. Well, okay, I didn't make thousands of videos. I made like 1,000 videos, like literally 1,000 something some odd videos. Okay, but all those videos, okay, was basically me remembering things popping into my head, putting things together. This was a very long, drawn out process. Okay, and so that's what this is about. But that my status, there's always going to be like social ladders and hierarchies, glass ceilings. It's unfortunate, but that's part of how this concept that I have come to accept and believe, only because from my own experience and from what I've observed around me, that I do believe that this world is hell. Like we literally live in hell, okay? And there are certain people who are above here, and there are certain people who are going to be persecuted, and it's wrong. You know what I mean? It's wrong, but there's a lot of suffering and torment on the earth, and it always was, and guess what? There always will be. Okay, it's unfortunate. It's fucked up. Okay, it really is, because it's what really fucked up when you can get a black woman being persecuted, being harassed, being abused in a community, and you have a white man who's a felon and he's well respected and he can basically dominate somebody and nobody seems to think anything wrong of it. You know what I mean? I have an issue with that. Okay, but this is hell for you, right? So anyway, no, I'm not interested in raising myself up socially. What I do care about is having a good reputation. Okay, everybody makes mistakes in life, but this bullshit that happened in this town, I had nothing to do with it, other than me lying to my husband many, many years ago about me being half white. That's the fucking extent of it. Okay, the weird thing with the chick, and then my family has always wanted to fucking kill me, obviously. So I didn't appreciate all this like song and dance drama going on around me, and especially when I was like really gung-ho about life at one point, and then these people just made me look at people even more. And like fuck, I'm just like, damn, it's hard for me to give people the benefit of a doubt now, because I have just seen so much evil. It's not even funny. But yeah, I do believe that we do live in hell, basically. And I mentioned when I first started making my videos, I kind of went back in different times in my life and started remembering things. And I know, like I mentioned before, that growing up, I've always had an interest in religion because I've always had this inner knowing. Okay. And I know a lot of people are really uncomfortable about things like inner knowing, being clairvoyant, being psychic. People don't. I don't even particularly like using that word psychic, only because it has gotten such a bad name. There's a lot of people who've made a lot of money off of innocent, I don't know, gullible, I would call them, people. Some people have an unrealistic view of what these sort of gifts are. Okay, and so the only point of reference that they have is what they see on TV. Okay, but and I know I was persecuted, and people brought in the whole issue of religion about to try to attack me because I have these spiritual gifts, and I believe completely in them. Well, I'm making a video on another channel, and I know it's taken me such a long time. I am angry at myself, really. I'd like to say that I'm angry at myself for the depression and why it sucks up so much of my time, because I do find that it's extremely debilitating at times, but I'm trying to work myself through it. And, I think this is what all I can do really at this point. But anyway, my video is about talking about my first intro to my new channel, is basically talking about my spiritual gifts. And I don't want to go into it too much, but when religious people bring up their doubts, and they laugh at people's spiritual gifts, I find it funny, mainly because this is what religion is all about. Religion revolves around the supernatural. You're basically saying, especially when it comes to religions that are based on the Abrahamic type religions, okay? Like the most religions, and that's pretty much the entire world, okay? Not everybody belongs to an Abrahamic religion. What I'm referring to is Abrahamic religions are religions that share Abraham as their, what do you call it, their the forefather. Okay, meaning like Abraham. If you don't remember who Abraham was in the Bible, he was the man who was just like unwavering in his faith and was willing to sacrifice his son, okay, his only son that he waited years and years and years and years and years to have. He was willing to do that, right? Well, obviously there's same people who how can I say this? Like Abraham is spoken about in the Quran, he's spoken about in the Torah, he's spoken about in the Bible, right? So these are Abrahamic religions, and they pretty much share the same people. And the prophets, okay? And prophets are what? People like me. Now, don't, before you jump up and get angry and try to say, oh, she's acting like she's Jesus Christ. Hell no, I would never say such a stupid thing. Okay? Now, some people say Jesus was a prophet, okay, in the Bible. Yeah, Jesus was a prophet, but he was more than just a prophet, okay? Like, some people have spiritual gifts, but I would say, if you look at the Bible and how it was written, Jesus was described as somebody who had like unimaginable gifts. Like, our gifts, like that people have, like myself, are subtle. They come through dreams, they come through thoughts, they come through, even sometimes they manifest as, certain sounds, okay, through electronic devices. I know it's weird, okay, but certain times we'll be sitting in a place, I'll be sitting in a place and I'll think, my thoughts become in sync with certain things that are going on around me. It's a long story, okay? But apparently, Jesus was written and known to like raise the dead, walk on water, heal the sick, all these other, and not just like heal the sick like a gradual thing. I mean, like instantly heal a person. Like some people who practice certain arts, like herbs and stuff like this is a very gradual process. Like they might be sick and then they'll take some herbs or do some sort of healing work or whatever. And maybe like within a week or two, then they're fine. He could instantly, heal somebody because according to the scriptures that he was, had a pre existence in heaven. He was a direct creation of his father, like, a representation or whatever, who came down here on earth. Okay, so he was a perfect man. Okay, meaning that he was, didn't sin, really. Okay, he, according to what the Bible says, right? So that's where it makes a difference. There are several prophets in the Bible, and there are prophets who exist today. And this is what the whole religion is basically based on. The Abrahamic religions are based on. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, well, Abrahamic religion, what about Buddhism? What about all these other religions like Hinduism and all these other things? Yeah, I mean, they don't necessarily believe in prophets, but they do acknowledge people who've had gifts. They do acknowledge people. They may not look at them as prophets. I believe they refer to them as avatars, which is kind of funny because that's the little creations that we see on like you can build an avatar of yourself. I think that's what they refer to them as. But they basically look at people not as like a gift or prophet, but they look at them as like a part of like God or something. It's different how they see it, but they do recognize it as something that exists. Okay, some people do have the ability to see into the future, to see. Do special things, okay? But like I said, it's not done like it is on TV. Like in TV, they add a bunch of special effects and things like that so that they're trying to convey a message, but I think the message gets confused because people think, well, can you really do that? Like when they show somebody going into a psychic trance, they'll show their eyeballs going white and, like their hair starts like flying and all this other stuff goes on. None of that happens, okay? But I think what they're trying to say is that they're becoming into like a spiritual realm, or they're thinking on some level that's different than what's on the earth, okay? And, I am a sane person. I don't have any mental issues other than extreme depression, okay? That comes and goes. But, and my depression is valid after being a victim of human trafficking and domestic stalking for years and years and years, finding out that my family really had no regard for me, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think my depression is pretty valid, but I don't have delusions. Now, and I do understand as an adult that, saying things and talking about psychic powers and stuff like that could make you ostracized because, like I said, and it's very hypocritical and it's part of hypocrisy. And it's a part of ignorance because I've said this several times, and this situation that I'm in proves it. A lot of people who are born into like for example, fundamentalist Christian homes know nothing about the religion. Because if they did, they wouldn't scoff at the idea of somebody having spiritual gifts. Like I said, religion is the supernatural. If you believe in an omnipotent, an omniscient, an omnipresent God, which omni means like all, okay? So all powerful, all knowing, all present, like he's always there, okay? That presence is always there. There is no human who has those characteristics. So the only thing that would be is something that lives beyond us, okay? And so that I'm going to call bullshit on that. Now, I do understand it's a very touchy subject. When I was younger, the supernatural and these weird experiences were so normal to me, and there were times where I was afraid of them, right? But, and then I got older, I was like, I was open to talk about it, and I would talk about it like it was nothing. And then I would get these strange looks like, oh my God. What the hell? So as an adult, I'm very much aware of how it can distance you from other people because, like I said, there's a lot of ignorance. The only point of reference that they have towards clairvoyance or any understanding like that is what they see in movies, which is an exaggerated depiction of it. That's not true. So they're thinking, you think that you can actually do that? Like some people, I know people have called me a witch before, which I will go into that in another one of my videos. Do I consider myself a witch? No. Okay. Did I study witchcraft when I was younger? Yes, I did. Do I think that because I'm into meditation, because I do. I believe that people should heal themselves with herbs. Okay. You don't have to be a witch to do that, but that's something that witches do. Okay. Where was I going with this? Yeah, so, like, for example, for some people who do have special gifts, I'm trying to give an example. Okay, a telekinesis, right? Telekinesis is basically how you can affect certain things, like, like your electronics start making sounds, or, like, I know there's times I listen to music, and then when I get, like, certain thoughts, the music cuts out, or the sound goes down and then it comes back up. It's very strange, okay, but there's subtle signs, okay, and it's basically trying to tell me something, okay. And then that's when it allows me to kind of go into a different part of my room or whatever, quiet myself down and just sit there and just listen, and then I get messages that way, okay. And it's very, like I said, it's very subtle, right? But they exaggerate it, and so they think, like, you believe that, like you could twinkle your nose like what they see on Bewitched or something, and something like that happens. Okay, that's unrealistic, and so they think you must be crazy because you believe in those things, that have been, like, explained to them in a way that doesn't exist anyway. But yes, it does exist. Okay, and I don't want to try to force that down people's throats. I don't really talk about those things as an adult, of course, mainly because it is kind of controversial. It's not everybody's comfortable talking about those sort of things, so I don't really go into it, okay? But those things are important to me. As a matter of fact, I would say I built my entire life around it. When I was growing up, I actually wanted to be a nun. I was not Catholic, but I did want to... I don't know. Like, I thought it was kind of beautiful to get up in the morning, because really in the morning hours is when I get these visions a lot, I noticed that, certain times of the day, which was something that I was very much aware of when I was younger. And I would feel certain things when the sun was in a certain position, right? And those things were really powerful. And that's one of the reasons why, and I know people bash me for my taste in music, and people fucking laugh at me because I'm a black chick who has this eclectic taste in music. But, I like music more than just its beat. You know what I mean? And I like music for lyrics, really, and things that I can relate to. And when I was in high school, I remember just falling head over heels in love with the Moody Blues. Okay, why? Because I liked their Days of Future Past album, because the whole concept of that album was talking about the different times of the day. And I had never heard anything like that before, but I experienced that on my own. It was like, whoa, I know what they're talking about because, like, when it's just the way they described it. So I have different interests that pretty much revolve around my spiritual experiences, and I'm attracted to things that relate to that. You know what I mean? So anyway, I wanted to get on here and make a little video, just kind of talk, because I'm in this talky mood, and it's like you can only say so much to people in your day life. But I have things that go on in my mind sometimes, and like I was thinking about the status thing. No, you don't have to worry about me. I don't need to have be rubbing shoulders with, like, the social elite people. Although I do want to know them. Why? Because it's cool. Like, some certain people here in this community, they've lived here since it all started. They have family that goes on and on and on and on and on and on. I want to hear their stories. That's interesting to me. Like, there's certain pieces of property that I find fascinating because people have lived on their property for that many years. So that's interesting, right? But yeah, that's why I find that fascinating, because they have roots. Like this, like when I say roots, it's like they have this established life that I find interesting, right? I don't want anything from them, just want to kind of, that's interesting to me. So no, I'm not into status. And it's hard because, I do think I've met a lot of other spiritual people, and most spiritual people, they some of them, they just avoid jobs altogether. They do. I've known a lot of people who are extremely spiritual, and they will do anything they possibly can to not have a job. That's the damn truth, okay? There's a lot of people who do not want to work, but I love working. You know what I mean? And it's weird because, I'm around conservative people and blah, blah, blah. And I'm this unmarried 50-year-old woman, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know. I'm a, what do you call it? I'm an odd bird, okay? I don't need people pointing that out. You know what I mean? I certainly don't need to be harassed about it. But one thing I'm not ashamed of it. You know what I mean? I see great benefit in living the way that I do. And I believe it or not, I'm grateful for it. I am very grateful for my life, and with the exception, of course, of the people who abuse me in my life. But other than that, I think that I was very fortunate to have an open mind and think about things other than what goes on here in this world. I think this world is extremely depressing. It's extremely evil. It's extremely selfish. It's immoral. You know what I mean? And no, I'm not a goody two shoes. I also want to say that my lack of interest in sex is not an issue relating to spirituality. I think sometimes you can get turned off by sex by just bullshit. Like, I see that some people have such perverted, like, ideas that, like, it just fucking don't touch me, okay? Don't talk about it. Just, I'm so turned off, just, like, go away, okay? Just go away. And, I find that, like, really a big turn off, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of people who don't have any boundaries. And I don't know. I just, I don't know, and then I did touch on the issue of, I guess what was I talking about? Oh, about the arrogance of, assuming that she's going to want this white man or blah, 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 blah. That's very dangerous. And you really do kind of put a woman of color in an uncomfortable position, especially when you're dealing with her work and stuff like that. People are always, and it's sad, and they really need to understand that, that's an insult. It's an insult. I would not put up with abuse to raise myself socially, or just to have a white man or whatever. That's pretty pathetic. You know what I mean? No, I wouldn't. If I was looking for status, I would have never married my ex-husband. I would have married somebody who had, like, money. You know what I mean? Wealth. I call it generational wealth. I mean, like, really had it. And of course, why would he marry me? Because I'm not from that kind of background. Now, some white men would be willing to marry a woman of color. That is, if she was somehow socially and financially able to kind of be on the same par level. I don't have the kind of wealth that that a lot of people, like these kind of people, would have. So no, I never even tried, never even thought to. You know what I mean? So I'm a realist. You know what I mean? So yeah, I've always focused on working and taking care of myself, and I would say that, when it comes to minority women, especially black women, um, watch what you say. And more importantly, watch what you do. I'm not trying to tell you how to think, okay? But when you endanger the life, foolishly endanger the life of someone of color, and this is what they do every single goddamn day with their bullshit, okay? And I have nothing against white people except for when you assume that I want you, or you assume that I'm trying to be you. I'm not trying to be you, okay? Just because I have certain likes. I think it's good for everyone. If you look at something or you hear something and it pleases you, it's as simple as that. I just mentioned how I love the Moody Blues. I love the Moody Blues because I can relate to their spiritual themes, okay? Um, and it's not because they're white. It's because they're fucking brilliant. That's why I like them. And, it's funny because I've known white people who have like an eclectic taste, and it's fine for them to have an eclectic taste. They can like this, they can like that. I've seen them wearing like Japanese clothes or whatever. But the minute a person of color does something where you're trying to be white, I'm not trying to be white. If I was trying to be white, I would do to people what they did to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So get off that shit right now, okay? Because I'm not, okay? White to me is a social class, and that's what it is. I'm very open about it. And I mean, I couldn't say those things. I've dealt with racism. And I, as a black woman, stood up to many people, a whole community who was ready to fucking basically support somebody who was obviously abusing me, okay? I'm a very strong person, and I do speak the truth, and I'm not afraid to do it. I'm not a hellraiser. You know what I mean? I think some people thought, oh, she's like a social, what do you call it? I don't like a modern day Martin Luther King. No, I think people wanted to put that on me because like every time somebody says you're playing the race card, they want you to play the race card so they can enact more racism on you. Okay? No one mentioned the race card. I'm bringing it up now because I'm getting a full picture and view of exactly what really happened, and it's fucking mind blowing. So anyway, no, I'm a person. I am a black woman, and I'm an American black woman, and meaning what I mean by that is that I don't have my roots, my dark skin, my kinky hair comes from Africa. That's where I originated, supposedly, because there's some people who believe that we were already here before they supposedly brought Africans over here. There are some people who believe in this theory. I can't debunk that, but I can't agree with it either. So I am of a different race, okay? But that doesn't mean that I can't like and do certain things that are not a part of my race. Like I see white people and Chinese people go to Mexican restaurants all the time. They love that goddamn Mexican food. I'm one of them. Okay, I like it too. Am I trying to be Mexican? No. I just like that stuff. And I refuse to have to justify myself for that, okay? And I like what's brilliant. And like if I hear music, and a lot of that music, I'm a big 60s and 70s rock fan, really. I love that stuff. And I grew up listening to it all my life. Why? Because the music back then was great, And of course I love Motown, and I grew up listening to country music and all kinds of things. And what I like is I like lyrics. I'm a lyric person. And if I can resonate with the lyrics, then like it's all good. Like I love that, okay? But I do have different tastes. I speak well, and I think that causes a lot of anger because, oh, you're trying to be white. Well, it's like I said, it's always some bullshit with that, right? Because if I was to speak in a way where a lot of black people speak, they speak what they call it ebonics, okay? Then I would be ignorant, I would be ghetto, I would be whatever. But if I speak proper English, then which is you're supposed to do, which is what they teach you in school, okay? And both my parents speak proper English. My siblings speak proper English. Then somehow you're trying to be white. So I think there's a lot of racism that goes on in the world because in the reality, for people who think that way, they would just rather you not exist at all. Because they want to bitch either way. You know what I mean? So I'm used to people, and I understand this is a part of the fucking hell that we live in, and I just kind of grin and just like deal with it, bear it, and then when I get home, I go to my home and do my arts and crafts and get away from it. So I'll be damned if some white bitch is going to tell me that I can't fucking, play my arts and crafts and listen to my music in my home and try to instruct my life. Okay, you have enough. You do enough on the outside to fuck my shit up. Don't you dare try to fuck my shit up in my own home. Okay, and that's not me being racist, like I said. I understand. I mean, white people they're white people. Okay, and I treat white people decently, okay? But when they cross the line, such as this bitch who did what she did, I'm sorry. No, okay? And no, I don't hate white people. Like I said, I appreciate, like, a lot of white artists. I like a lot of white music. I like a lot of white music. A lot of it, okay? But when I deal with racism from certain people, and I'm not saying all white people are like this, but it's surprising of how many white people actually enjoyed this and participated in it. So it kind of makes you wonder a little bit, right? But anyway, but yeah, so yeah, it is. I'm one of those people. I'm a realist. You know what I mean? I'm a realist, okay? And no, I mean, I want friends like everyone else. Of course, I would have a white friend. I don't see anything wrong with that, okay? But she'd have to understand me. She'd better not fucking underestimate me, and don't you ever fucking undermine me, okay? So she would have to see me and understand that I'm not interested in competing with her and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how it works with me. You know what I mean? I'm a person. You know what I mean? I'm a black woman, but I'm a person. I don't think about my blackness every fucking goddamn day, okay? I am black, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't look this good, okay, if I wasn't black, okay? Because they say black don't crack, right? And the reason why everybody fucking hates me is because I'm 50 years old and I look young. Why do I look young? Because I'm black. Truth, right? Anyway, before I offend somebody, I'm going to get the hell off my channel. I hope you all have a good night. Take care. Good night.